Hello, I'm Senior Programmer Jenn Wilson, and welcome to This Film Independent Presents Q&A for the film Continue, written and directed by and starring Nadine Crocker. Special thanks to Lionsgate for helping us screen this film for our members. Thanks to our lead sponsor, the Golden Globe Foundation, and our virtual screenings partner, Vision Media. And now welcome my Q&A guests for Continue, writer, director, actor Nadine Crocker, and actors Shiloh Fernandez and Emily Deschanel. Welcome, everybody.
Hey guys.
Thank you.
Hi. So because we have a lot of Film Independent members in our screening series that are aspiring filmmakers, I usually like to start our Q&As asking how about people's filmmaking career trajectory. So, Nadine Crocker, this is your life. How did you become a filmmaker?
When I started in acting, I dropped out of high school, moved to Los Angeles when I was 16, been here ever since. And I like to say on my way to my passion, which was acting, I found my purpose, which is filmmaking. So I spent a lot of my life pursuing acting and getting to be a part of some really special projects. And while also in the background, doing PA work and production design and everything I could to basically be on set as much as humanly possible. And, Continue is based on true events from my life and a suicide attempt, surviving a suicide attempt. And so, I had found something that was so important to me to talk about and to elevate and a story to tell. And that's really what started me on my filmmaking trajectory. I don't know if I ever really thought that I would that it was possible for me. So I think when I first started out, I really only saw young, actresses acting in front of the camera. I don't think I knew that it was, necessarily something we could pursue. And so at an older age, I finally was like, you know what, I have to tell this story, and I'm going to fight tooth and nail so that I can. And that is what started me on my filmmaking journey. And then now, ever since Continue, I'm really mainly just writing and directing, and directed another film after Continue, Desperation Road, which Shiloh was also in. And yeah, so that's what started this film, is what started my entire journey with writing and directing.
So this was your first feature, right? What is it like to be in starring in the film that you're also directing? Is that extremely challenging? Would you recommend it?
God, that's like a tricky question. Was it extremely challenging? Yes, it was ridiculous. I wore every hat, because we were also, wrote, directed, produced, self-financed, invested my entire life savings, ended up homeless just to finish the film because then the pandemic hit, so it was I think I wore every hat you can, I'll even joke, I'll be like craft services, tap it, whatever it required. And that can be a lot. And yes, it was very challenging, but I will say there was also some really beautiful benefits to it, as to, I feel like, especially with me going back to some really hard years of my life, and a really it can be a tough subject to approach. Because I wore so many hats, I feel like I was forced to kind of pull myself out of that world and then put the director hat back on, and it really helped me keep in balance with acting and starring in this film, and then also directing and everything else. So yes, I would recommend it. If your heart and spirit is calling to do it, then you have to do it. It's like I'm the friend who always wants every human being I know to go for the secret dream that they're too afraid to even say out loud. And it's like, if that is your dream, to helm and wear every hat, then you have to do it. I feel like that passion is put inside of us for a reason.
So how long of a shoot was this actually?
Um, it was 18 days with a short pickup day in San Francisco for the ending and that Golden Gate Bridge shot.
So let's talk about your actors who are here. Had you met either one of these amazing people before, Emily and Shiloh?
Um, I Well, what's funny is I'm not even sure Shiloh remembers this, but we had met previously to him, to my offer going out to him and to us sitting down. We had worked on like I did a day on Dead Girl as a favor to the director's girlfriend that I had met. And so we briefly met there. And then we did this other thing like you and Brittany Snow did some kind of like political like video, and I knew someone there and they asked me to come help them out. So we had briefly met, and I don't even know if we've talked about that, Shiloh, like, which is so funny. But no, like not really the connection or the friendship or anything that ended up brewing once I put the offers in and for both Emily and Shiloh. And once I got to sit down with them, there was just like an immediate connection and friendship and thus started our journey on this film.
Oh, it's a baby.
I know.
Shiloh, do you want to introduce your child?
Sorry, yeah, he's
That's okay.
it's nap time, but he's awake. This is Monty, 6 months
Oh my
old.
God.
Oh,
Adorable.
so cute.
Oh,
Oh my
Oh.
amazing. So Emily, you and Nadine have that incredibly intense scene towards the end where Dean shows up at your house and you sort of reveal the truth about your own son committing suicide. Do you want to just talk about that and preparing for that scene, what the things that you might have drawn on, or basically what your process for preparing for that emotional scene?
Yeah, I mean, I will just say that I just speaking to the last question, when I spoke with Nadine when I first met her after reading this beautiful script, it was just an instant trust and connection. And so I felt really safe going in before I even walked on set. I felt really safe and protected. And yeah, I mean that scene kind of it unveils, you just don't know what anyone's really going through. And I think a lot of mental health professionals also have a lot of things that they are processing as well. Yeah, I mean, I don't like to use my own life. I have at different times in my acting, but I like to build, a world and a history for a character. So I just worked from there and spent a lot of time working on that and dreaming up my character's life and her world and who her son was and what she lost. And yeah, that's how I approached it. And then I just worked with Nadine. We talked about it and went for it.
What about for you, Shiloh? What was it that drew you to want to play this part?
Yeah, that was a really great answer, Emily. I think I mean Nadine was a huge part of it. We lived in the same neighborhood, and when they sent the offer, she sent this really beautiful letter that was super touching, and I loved the script. I thought it was really deep and meaningful, and I had my own experiences in my own life that were sort of somewhat parallel to the story she was telling. And meeting Nadine was, she's just a sort of a powerhouse of a woman and has so many different facets to her. So I also felt really connected to her immediately. And the fact that she was sharing this sort of personal journey, I really commended her. I mean, it's so hard to make a movie, and the fact that she was wearing all these hats and her husband, Anthony, they really sort of, were an shining example of sort of putting everything on the line to make your art, and I really respected that, and I really like the character too. I sometimes play people that aren't so good, and so I really like this sort of complicated person who had his own sort of past, but also was at a place in his life where he was sort of open and willing to sort of take this journey with this woman that he fell in love with, and I thought that was really beautiful as well.
Um, Nadine, is your process with your actors that you make time for some rehearsal time beforehand, or it's mostly just everybody gets to the set, you sort of have a little meeting with the actors about what you want to do? Is it that type of thing, or is it?
Yeah, I mean, I think with so much of the process, because so many of the actors, like I'm lucky enough to work with, have really busy schedules. And Shiloh in particular, like he was flying back and forth and filming another movie when we were working together on Continue. So but that being said, I wouldn't necessarily call it rehearsal time, but there was definitely multiple meetings of us getting together, like me and Shiloh in particular. Me and Emily just got to have like the most beautiful phone conversation, and then all of our moments together, we would talk on set and we would kind of prepare for the scenes. And the way that I prepare as an actor is very different than necessarily how I would work as a director, because of course I would love rehearsal and stuff like that. And so, there would be running lines definitely, or, me and Shiloh would run lines a lot, and I'm very much about like running them arbitrarily. I don't want us doing it all what we like performing or whatever. It's really just to kind of make it second nature with the dialogue, so that we know it inside and out, so that we can explore. But how I prepare as an actor is that I don't prepare anything. Like I like to live completely and organically in the moment. And so we definitely had, like me and Shiloh in particular, had a few hangouts and talking about the characters and in depth, and telling, the backstory that I had come up with as a director, and, talking about some of his preparation and some of the things he had come up with and questions. And so like there was so much fun and discussion and exploration together. But I wouldn't say we really got rehearsal time, because it's an indie film and like there's never enough time in the day. But we definitely did get some moments for exploration and for conversations. Like one of my favorite moments to think of in particular, like when you ask that, is like, me and Shiloh put parameters around our big fight scene. And like, it was like, I was like, I want you to know you're always safe. And no matter where we're going in a scene, you're safe. So like, what do I have permission? Do I have permission to hit you? Do I have permission to this or to that? And Shiloh was like, my only ask is that you don't hit me with that whiskey bottle. And I was like,
Yeah.
I promise you, I will not do that. Like, you have my word. And he was like, great. So then outside of that, I have no requests or parameters. And so it was just completely volatile. And it was really, that entire scene was done in, we ended up doing 2 takes, so that one was focused on my angle and one was focused on his, and it was all done in two takes, and complete exploration of just being fully alive in the moment. So there were discussions, but not really time for rehearsals. I've never been able to have a rehearsal time on either of my films yet, so I am curious what it's like for directors who get that, and I hope that soon I will.
And this question is for anybody that wants to answer. Are there any specific scenes or moments in the film that are memorable for you?
I want to hear their answers before I just answer it, because
Yeah, the scene that Nadine is talking about, it's really interesting working with a writer director who's also the your co-star, and so you know uh wanting sort of direction of this and wanting to do a good job sort of being part of her film, and at the same time wanting to be in the moment with her. I think that it was really helpful to have all of our discussion time, which felt a little bit like rehearsal, because we really were going line by line, sort of understanding the characters, and that was super, super helpful. But the scene where we had that big fight, my little brother was in high school at the time and was interested in how movies are made, and he was doing school plays. And Nadine was kind enough to let him and my dad come visit that day, and they so that was the scene that he got to see, which was this sort of mad, crazy scene. And I think it was really just incredible to watch Nadine have control of the set as a director, and also be able to be so emotional and sort of raw, and give herself these moments. So yeah, that was a very memorable scene. And also the light scenes, I really loved. I think the first thing we did was when we met each other. I love the desert things. I really love that there were some light moments
and really fun, sort of beautiful things, along with some of those really more dramatic, deep moments. And Nadine was really great with sort of letting me or encouraging me to sort of come up with who this character was. And, we used some real pictures from my family and in my apartment scene, which I thought was really great. My mom watched the movie whenever it came out, and she noticed that, which she loved, seeing my grandma on the wall. So it was a really neat mix
of sort of personal things, as well as sort of creating Nadine sort of creating these parameters, like she said, to play with him.
Awesome. What my favorite one of my favorite scenes in the movie is when you guys first go to his house and you're making out and getting ready to like do it, and he says something about go all the way. Is that the line that he used? And I was just like, I laughed so hard. You're teasing him about going all the way.
And going steady. And yeah. Oh
Was
my
that
God.
was that something that you had written in the script or something that just came out in the scene?
Just came out in the scene. Like it's so funny that so many of because that was one thing I was very firm on too for everyone, is that the best idea wins. And this is a collaboration. This is never like, no, stick to the line. So there was always room for improv, and it was kind of like, feel free in the moment. And the movies that inspire me are like Blue Valentine, where everything feels so organic and real. And that's by letting people kind of be real and raw in the moment. And so much beauty came through those moments where we're just being real and funny, and, and I'm teasing him because it came out of his mouth, and then I was, it was just too easy. And then we're just going back and forth off of each other. So yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
That
I loved that. It was so spontaneous. And also there's so many goofy things that can come out when the first time you get together with someone or hook up with someone. There can be so many funny and light moments. So I loved that part. Emily, did you have a memorable moment?
I was just going to say that I loved to piggyback on Shiloh. I mean, I loved watching Nadine direct and act at the same time. It was fascinating. She really like would put that hat on, take it off, put on another hat so seamlessly. She'd act and be in the scene, and then they'd bring over a monitor to watch, sometimes, not every time, but like to watch what was filmed, and then she'd know exactly what she wanted. Her ability to go back and forth was really incredible, and I loved watching that. I mean, I didn't get to have as many fun, light moments. I was either clinical, being, her doctor, and then, the personal big scene. But I loved watching her work in that way. It was really fascinating and wonderful.
I love hearing these answers though too, is because like when it's yourself, you don't feel that way. So when they like tell stories from set, it's so cool because you get to hear it for the first time from other people's perspective, That's why I love these conversations.
So, Nadine, did I see that you're also now, and did you start a foundation, or you're in mental health advocacy now?
Yeah. So one of my, this film was really, really challenging to create. And that's one of the reasons that me and my husband ended up having to like essentially put it all on the line. Most of the producers and places that we had taken the script, for financing and for potential collaboration were just like, I don't believe that the world is ready to talk about mental health. I don't, it's a taboo subject and no one wants to talk about suicide. And so we were hit with a lot of adversity. And again, I strongly disagreed because I believe that it won't become we can't break the stigma in it, and we can't elevate the subject if no one's brave enough to talk about it. And I think one of the worst things about suicidal ideation and depression is that you feel utterly and completely alone. So the only way we can show people they're not alone is by talking about it. And so, that started us on this journey. And my dream was always for it to be far more than a film. I wanted it to be a movement. So I donated all of my points from writing the film, and I let them go to charities. So we partnered with numerous nonprofits, but then I also was able to create my own nonprofit, which is Continue On. And the initiative behind Continue On is to pay for the mental health services for underprivileged youth that can't afford these services on their own. So I believe that everyone deserves access to the help they need. And so that is what started me. It's basically like when I find that other people aren't doing what I hope they will, I go, fine, then I'll do it myself. So we have Continue On organization, which is our nonprofit, and then Continue, part of the proceeds will go to Bring Change to Minds, Half the Story, and Continue On.
Wow, that's fabulous. And I completely thank you for that. I think everybody has been touched by mental health issues, and everybody has unfortunately been had friends and family that have attempted suicide or committed suicide. I for the first time last year had a friend that committed suicide, and I think it's a growing issue, and I'm so glad. Is Continue On the web on a website?
Yes, and if you go to Continue the Film, it's there. It's at the end of the film's credits as well, and like pretty much all I post about on my Instagram at Nadine Crocker is the nonprofit and advocacy work that I'm trying to begin. I mean, it's literally gone so much further. I have numerous jewelry lines and clothing lines now doing mental health and Continue On and Continue, and semicolon, you know, like even down to the necklace I'm wearing now was a collaboration that I got this jewelry company to start doing semicolons, and on the other side it's engraved Continue. So, you know, I'm really just trying to elevate mental health and suicide prevention to the highest level I can personally, and hoping that it catches on and we see more stories like Continue emerge. You know, because I also come, while being a suicide survivor, I also come from a family of suicide. And, you know, the more and more I talk about it, or, you know, after the screenings, when the film screens, I just hear how many people have been affected, even, you know, through what you were just saying as well. And I'm really sorry for your loss, you know, but that's one of the hardest things, is seeing the statistics and the rates of death by suicide just continue to raise. And then people wonder, you know, like still don't want to elevate this subject. And it's like, how much worse does it have to get before we start talking about it? You know,
Right.
The thing is, statistically, there's more of us that are battling it than there are that aren't. So, you know, it's really common. And I think the more people realize that, the safer they'll feel to like admit when they're struggling.
So the film was out earlier this month or in September, I think, right?
Yeah, September 6th.
Okay. Okay. And so you're online and available for rent now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Amazon and
So
Apple.
so anybody that's seeing this, you can tell your friends to go out and rent the movie. Does anybody have anything else that they have coming up that they're excited about? No pressure. I know sometimes actors are going through times where they're not working, so nobody has to feel bad about that. We know what Shiloh's doing. He's taking care
Oh
of a
my
beautiful
God.
babe.
That's right. That's the best job ever, and one that's gonna last the rest of my life. Just
Thank you for the baby fix too. I mean, mine are much bigger now, so I like seeing a little baby like that. Made my
He's
day.
he's so happy.
oh yeah, he's a good one. He's a good one.
I mean, I'll say I'm not sure what they're working on, but I have a lot of projects that I'm super duper excited about. And one of my mentors, Robbie Brenner, who is like also one of the producers I manifested and had on my vision board for years before we finally started working together. So I have 2 films going and casting with her right now, and another that was optioned and is now casting with Atmosphere Entertainment, Mark and Dorothy Canton. So I'm really, really excited about some of these amazing stories that I get to helm, and a lot of them that I wrote, and also all of them. Every producer now that I'm working with, even the ones that I have attached to now as a director, like for hire almost, like that weren't my own original content. Everyone has committed to donating a portion of the proceeds of all of those films as well. So my whole dream was to continue to to be a filmmaker, and to have every project have a level of impact and charity aspects. And everyone's been really supportive. And so now I get to raise funds for charity through these beautiful stories for so many important subjects. So that's what I'm super excited about right now.
This is why
Well,
you just
thank you so much.
don't want to
Oh, go
not
ahead.
work with Nadine when you talk to her. She's trying to make the world a better place. And she's, you know, doing so much. I have a film that's going to the Heartland Film Festival coming up, but that's called Re-Entry.
In Indiana, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
I know that festival. That's a really good festival.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Are you going to go to Indiana?
I'm trying to, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a sci-fi. It was fun to do with great people. So yeah.
Nice.
Enjoying these.
Ooh, I can't wait to see it.
Indie films are fun to do.
I grew up right next door in Illinois, so that's why. And then I worked in festivals for many years, so that's how I know about that festival. But it's a fantastic regional festival.
Yeah, my friend who does documentaries said it was a fantastic festival. I'd never been or really knew anything about it, so I'm like, okay, maybe I'll try and go. But yeah.
There's some great ones in the Midwest. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for coming and talking today. Congratulations on this film. I wish you the best of luck on the continued journey with this film and also with everything that you guys are working on. It's so great to meet Monty.
Most importantly, the star of the show.
Well, we also have to say, like, this is like the dedication. Shiloh was home alone with his son and was like, I'm not going to miss it for the world. I'm going to join. Just like Monty might be hanging out too. And I'm like, it's all about, I'm glad that Monty was there and part of this Q&A.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. This is such an important movie. I'm so proud of it. I'm so proud of Nadine. I think like Emily said, she's a force, and she's gonna do a lot of amazing things for film and for the world. So I'm so proud to be a part of it.
Yeah. Agreed.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thank you so much.